Hey everyone! Thank you for waiting around. Yeah. Life happens, so you plan to do something at a certain time, doesn't always happen. How is everyone doing? I gave everyone that 5 minute 5 minute warning. Grab a snack, which is what I'm grabbing here. It's been one of them days where I just haven't stopped. Hello, Czech Republic. Wow. Hello. How's everyone doing? So, the other day I put a post up on my Instagram. I'm going to try and find it. Yes, this one. About my brushes. Because I said I was going to do a live today all about makeup brushes. Because I love makeup brushes. And I'm kind of redoing my kit to kind of almost get ready for when we come out of lockdown. So I'm kind of prepping, and I gave my brushes a good old run through, gave them a good old wash, changed up some of them, took some of them out that I wasn't really using anymore. And this is what I've got. So this is my brush belt. So I thought I would do a little Instagram live talking about my brush belt and my brushes. What's your best brush hack? Yes, so that's a good question. I mean, that's quite random. It's quite a lot. So what I want to do is ask you guys, ask me questions. This is gonna be just really live and interactive. So throw your questions out here. I will try and answer them as we go, but I do also have some questions on here that I got loads of questions on the post. So I'm going to try and go through some of them. So let's, so someone asked, how many brushes does my brush belt hold? I don't know. I've never actually counted all my brushes. I'd be a bit worried, but it does hold a lot. This brush belt I got when I first joined Mac. This is the original brush belt I got given 17 years ago, and it is still here. I still use it, and I love it. As soon as I got it, I customized it and made the strap really long so I can throw it over my shoulder. And I've literally I will be mortified if this ever got lost. I would be devastated. Whenever I travel, this always comes with me in my hand luggage, because I always think, let me know if you think this, but if I lost my brushes, that's the end. I could lose my makeup kit, fine, I'd be devastated, it would be annoying, but I could replace it. But my brush belt, I don't know what I could do. So anyway, so this always stays with me. It's always in my backpack. It's always in my hand luggage. I never put it in anywhere that I can't see it. Are you guys the same? Let me know. So, this is my original brush belt. I divide my brushes. So at the front, I've got sort of like, so I have my face brushes here, and then I have my sort of detail brushes here. And then I group them, so I've got like small blending brushes and then large blending brushes behind. I've got applicator brushes, and then I've got slightly wider applicator brushes. Then I've got sort of liner brushes, things that, like the smudgy brushes and the eyeliner brushes, and then the really fine brushes that I keep in the plastic, because I don't trust all of this with these delicate ones. These are like the I was gonna say the run to the litter, but like the slightly weak and feeble sibling that they need a little bit more care and attention, because the big brothers are just gonna knock them for six. What is the most love a brush? How do you wash the brush? We'll go into that. There was a lot of questions about cleaning brushes. What brand of brushes? They are all they're predominantly all MAC. I have one non-MAC brush, which is this one. This is actually from my body painting. Well, it was originally from my body painting brush kit, but I liked the length of this when you were doing like long outlines. It just flowed really, really, really beautifully. This is just a brush from an art shop, like a craft shop. It's not expensive. It looks a bit sort of frayed, but it does go to a tip when it's wet. It goes to a really nice long tip, and it just gives you, you know, when you're drawing, if you were sort of drawing, it just gives you a really nice long, thin black line or outline. But because of the length, because I have a bit of a shaky hand, let me know if you guys do, I have a shaky hand. So when I do sort of like line work, I find it really difficult to get sort of that nice clean edge because I do wobble about. So a longer brush, it means you have like this bounce in it. So when you're doing like a line and you've got a bit of a shaky hand, this will almost be like a suspension for you, and it will just sort of wibble, but the tip will stay the same. So there you go. So that's my non-MAC brush, but the rest are all MAC. So yeah, so on one side I have all my sort of detail brushes. So all my eyes, my lips, and then here is sort of contour blush. And then on the other side I have sort of powder, well, I have some concealer ones here, but more powder and foundation brushes, because skin is really important to get the right skin. So you need variety of foundation brushes, personally. Each brush will do slightly different. And that was another question I got, was what brushes do what? Like, how will one brush change the texture or the finish of the product? So I'm just gonna run through. How do you wash your brushes? Yeah, your favorite foundation brush. So yeah, let's go through some of my favorites then. So if someone's asked about my favorite foundation brush, I'm gonna start with my details and I'm gonna work my way through. How can you clean lipstick brush of lipstick? Or how do you clean a brush for lipstick? So if you've got lipstick on your brush, how do you clean it? We're gonna go through all of that. What's your best brush hack? Give me a bit more information, more specific, because that's quite, you know, loose. Hack for what? Give me something specific, and I'll let you know. Cleaning brushes, yeah, lots about cleaning brushes, and we're gonna go on to that. How am I doing? I'm doing great, actually. I've had a really great week. I'm ready for the weekend. And I use beauty blenders? Yes, I do. I have a separate bag of beauty blenders, sponges, powder puffs, things like that. I keep them in a separate thing because I know a lot of people kind of stuff them in there, but they fall out. So then that's that. How are we doing with questions? Yeah, okay. Right, so now we're gonna go through some of my favorite brushes. So let's start with details. So when I have lots of one type of brush, it's because I love it and I need lots in there. So what I find is I've got like one or two odds and sods, but then I have quite a lot of the same brush because I absolutely love it. And the one I truly love at the minute is this one. So we're going to talk about eyeshadow brushes. So this is a slightly newer brush. This is a 221, 221S. The S stands for synthetic. I do have some of the old ones, some of the original ones with original animal hair. I'm still kind of working through those. And I have synthetic, but if I'm honest, between the two, I don't see a difference. When I first got given all the synthetic brushes, I remember going, I know what synthetic brushes are like, and they're not the same. I was absolutely blown away by the synthetic brush, and I'll tell you why. The synthetic brush, if I show you I'll show you a real boy if I show you a real brush, this is real, like, oh no, that's not, you see? I thought that was like natural fibre because it's like bushier. It's not, it's just older, it's synthetic. Actually, I might not have one. What's this one? No. What's this one? Here we go. So there we go. So this is the original real hair, but this is the new and improved synthetic hair. And you can see, this is new, this is slightly older, synthetic, and then this is the original. Can you see actually the difference is minute? I love the synthetic because it's not just synthetic hair. What they've done to it to make it sort of coarse and slightly fluffy, the individual synthetic fibres are all slightly split and frayed like natural hair would be. And so you end up with the same finish, the same texture of fibre as a real hair. And so when you use it, it will act the same way. Some synthetic fibres are literally just strings of plastic and it pushes things around. It doesn't buff. And the reason why it pushes is because it's thin. It's just very smooth and sleek and thin. So it picks up the pigment and you put it on and it will just push it around. What you need is the synthetic hairs like these, the MAC brushes, because they are slightly sprayed, slightly frayed, slightly manipulated to have the same sort of coarse fibers like a real hair. And so it will pick up the product, but it will hold on to the product when it's being applied to the skin. And so when you apply it, it doesn't just push it away, it works it into the skin. And that's why the synthetic brushes, when they turned up, I was like, they nailed it. Like, genuinely, there is no difference. So yeah, this is the 221 and I absolutely love it. I love it for blending because the original, because before this came out, we had the 217. And so the 217 is slightly bigger. But then before, the one that follows on from that is this one, which is the 224. So we got, it's all a lot of numbers. I got an itch on my nose, sorry. So we got the 224, the 217, but these were quite big. And if you've got like an eye shape like mine, using a 217, the small of the two, still meant you got quite a lot of product in quite a large area. So then the 221 turned up and you can see it's just a lot more tighter. So what I love about this brush is the fact I can get the product on the skin, but because it's small, it's not going to blend it too far up. I can control the application of eyeshadow with this brush a lot more. I can control it a lot more than if I use the larger ones, which is why I've got, how many have we got in here? I've got about 8 of these because I just love them. So what I tend to do, and if you don't have a small eyelid like me, then you can still use it. So what I do is I'll use this a lot for the darker colors. So I might sort of start by putting on a mid-tone and sort of pushing that into the socket, and then I'll go to a bigger brush and then blend what has been applied. So you're then blending that out with a cleaner, bigger brush to get that nice smooth edge. But then sometimes what I'll do is I'll get that sort of color all over and then I'll go in tighter with this smaller brush, and instead of then having to go back and blend out, this will just apply it and blend it at the same time. So it's a really good brush. So that's the 221S. You can't beat a 217. 217s are great. Use them a lot for applying sort of, really good for applying paint pots all over the eyelid really quickly. Really good for concealer under the eyes. I'm realizing I'm putting them on my face and I'm putting them back in my mouth, so I'm gonna take them out. Make sure that I clean them again. Yeah, it's really good for concealer. It's also really nice when you want to kind of get that nice sort of soft edge lip. You put your lipstick on but don't put it to the edge. And then just use this brush, because they're quite reasonably priced and they're just quite nice and just easy to sort of push around. So the 217 is a really good one as well. And then, so I was saying about this one for blending eyeshadow. I don't use this one for blending eyeshadow. I use this more for applying eyeshadow powder, invisible powder, blot powder, press powder, when I want to matte down the skin. Because if you use a traditional powder brush, say something like this, it can go quite everywhere. But sometimes you don't want powder everywhere. You just want to sort of take away powder, take away shine from certain areas, like a little shiny there, but you want to keep all of that nice and juicy. So just using this, just to kind of get in there and do that, that is a really great brush for powder as well. So it's really sort of getting the brush to do what you need it to do, as opposed to, oh, it's a powder brush, use it a powder brush. Doesn't always work like that. That's why MAC brushes are numbered and not named. So we don't say this is an eyeshadow blending brush. It is. But actually, if we said it was, then would you think about using it to apply powder on your nose with this? Probably not. So that's why we number them. So it allows you to use the brush how you want to use it. Right, so we've done blending brushes. I'm now going to talk about my favorite applicator. Oh, I put my glasses down because I can't see. And now I get these dents in my head. Anyway. So this is the 239. So this is like a classic MAC brush. 239 is a classic MAC brush. Really good for eyeshadow application because it is literally, can you see that? Can you see that? It's literally the distance between the socket and the lashes. So it literally will apply eyeshadow over the lid. Really simple, really quickly. It's really effective. I also like to use it, well, I actually use it underneath. So I use it from above. And it's good because you can get it right into the lashes when you want to get that nice highlight in the center. And then you can pop it underneath. But what a lot of people don't realize is that this is a really great eyebrow brush. It is. So the 239 is a really great eyebrow brush. And I'll tell you why. I'm just going to move these. Because it is literally the width of the perfect brow. It has an arch that just creates the greatest shape of an arch. And then if you just use the tip, it will give you the perfect little flick at the end. So I use this. Does anyone else use this for brows? Let me know. I use this 239S brush for brows more than anything else. Anyone who's joining, doing a live Q&A about brushes, so get your questions in. I'm going to try and read them as I go. I know I'm probably missing a lot, so I do apologise. But I'm going to save this also to my Instagram story, so Instagram TV, so you'll have it all to watch back if you want to get more information if you missed anything. So for eyebrows, what I do is I pick up the product, pick up the eyeshadow, and then I start underneath and I push up. So I get that nice crisp edge underneath. So I push up and I get that. I know I'm not actually doing it, so I don't know why I'm pretending like, ooh. But I push up from the beginning, get that nice clean underbrow. And then I will then go over the top and just sort of work it through to get a slightly more fuller front. Then I pick up more product. And what I do is it's kind of a bit like corner of the nose, nostril. And you see how the roundness of that brush works in line with your arch. So it kind of goes straight and then wraps around that curve and then goes down. So then I almost press that in to get that nice little shape. And then using the tip, I then just brush it out. But it means what you can do is you can just extend it out. If you wanted to, you could get it out over there. So that's why the 239S brush is a really, really great brow brush. Not very many people use it for brows. Oh, look at those dents. But if you do, let me know, because I tell you, if you do try it, comment in the IGTV and let me know how you got on, because it is really, really clever. And at some point, I'm going to try and do a little how-to video using it. But at the minute, my brows are too, well, I need to bleach them. So when I bleach them, then I can do it and you'll see it. I always, what's this? Just making sure. Which brand do I prefer? And I know I work for MAC. I'm going to declare it. Most people should know. I do work for MAC. Yes, I'll be saving this live. I work for MAC. Now, the reason why I work for MAC, and the reason why I started working for MAC is because I loved MAC. I love the products, I love the brushes, I had the tools. I didn't have all the tools, I had a few, but I used MAC a lot in my kit. And so that's why when I was looking for a part-time job to pay them bills, I wanted to work for a brand that I knew and I trusted and I loved. So I got a job at MAC, and that's why I have mostly MAC, because in my opinion, it is the best. Other brands do specific little things that are really good, but MAC, I think, overall has the greatest collection of amazing products. Right, so we're done eyes. I'm now going to move on to... Oh no, I don't want to put that back. Concealer. For concealer, I really love this one. Now, this one I have to remember because it's similar to something else, but it's the 287. This is a really old tatty one. It's like being butchered. But I love this. I love duo fibre brushes. I love duo fibre brushes for skin, because duo fibre brushes give you the softest veil of products, and that's what I love about skin. I don't want to see product on the face. I want to see as little as possible so that the skin just looks gorgeous without looking like foundation. And that's where this one comes in. I love it because it's, I'm going to lift this up, I'm going to get another dent. Because it's duo fibre. So the reason for a duo fibre, everyone's like, thinks, oh, duo fibre, but do you know why they're duo fibre? I'm going to tell you. So basically, you're meant to apply it with the white part of the brush, not the black part of the brush. So if you put the products on the white part, when you then push down to blend it, because of the black part of the brush, helps to separate the white and give the white tips, the white sort of fibres, space. So that it gives you a lighter, less compact and less pushed together application. So it's meant to give you a softer, wispier finish. So that's why you pick up the product with the white part, and you apply it with the white part by pushing down, and the black part really shouldn't touch the skin. So because of that, when you then do this under eye, you're getting very, very fine amounts of product on the skin, and that gives you that really lightweight concealed finish to give you a nice lightweight look. So it's not like a heavy compact look. However, if you do want a good full coverage under eye, which sometimes I do, actually I do quite a lot, on myself, this one is genius. So this is the 270. Let me know if anyone has this, because this is quite a popular, if you know it, you know it. Oh, hey, John Stapleton. Nice of you to join us. I hope you're doing well. I really liked our chat the other day. It perked me right up. So this is the 270. This is one of the new brushes that we've got out. We've got the 270 and the 170, which I'll go through in a minute. Oh, Zizzo, you little beauty. We've got the lovely Louise Zizzo as well. Oh, I miss your face. I really do miss your faces. We should do a proper Zoom catch up soon. Right, so back to the brush. This is the 270, and this is amazing for just getting in there and you just push it in. It's like a velvet tipped finger. Ooh. Should you wish one, here it is. And basically, it allows you to push like you would do with a finger. It allows you to push that concealer right in all the nooks and crannies, gets it right in. But because it's really densely compacted, it allows you to just feather out and soften like a little velvet of the product. So it just gives you that really nice, lightweight, smooth application. It is gorgeous. It's a really, really, really great brush. John's gonna say he's gonna take 5. There we go, sold. I mean, QVC, you ain't calling me. Give me a call, QVC, I'd love it. I have 2 of these because I do love them. I love them a lot. They're really, really good for concealer. Really, I only use them for concealer. I don't really use them for anything else. They're great for blemishes as well because you can just literally pack over the top, and the rounded edge just allows the product to just kind of out the sides, and it just gives it a nice softer finish. So it's a really, really good, really great brush. That's the 270S brush. So there we go. I'm gonna run through some of my other favorite products now for foundation, and then we'll get to some questions. So foundation brushes, I've got a lot. They are large, so therefore they do take up a lot of space. My absolute favorite foundation brush. Yes, I'm in love with the 270. Yes, it is a really great brush. Any of my all of my fingers are velvet tipped though. Oh, well, aren't you lucky? If you have velvet tipped fingers, do you have a velvet hand? Are you a doll? Or maybe you just wear gloves. Maybe you're one of those sophisticated ladies wearing gloves. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, I don't really want to get involved that much with your velvet finger. Now we're talking about foundation. Foundation brushes. My ultimate foundation brush. Is this my ultimate foundation brush? Yes, it is. I haven't got my glasses. I thought that was a 3, which was confusing me. It's not. It's a 9. This is the 159. This is... I'm obsessed. This is one of the best foundation brushes, and I'm going to tell you why. So you know I spoke to you about the reason for a duo fibre. The reason for a duo fibre is the black part of the brush separates the white applicator that gives you a softer, lighter, delicate touch with your product. So this foundation brush will do the same thing, like I said about under eyes, that light, delicate touch, but it will give you all over. Now we also have this one. This is the 188. But the difference is this is slightly more denser. It's shorter, it's stumpier, so you get more control. You can really sort of put it where you want it. This one will give you more of a general all over application, but this one you can get it right where you want to, and it will always give you that nice soft edge. Really, really beautiful. The other reason why I like this is because it's rounded, whereas this one kind of has a square tip. Because this one's rounded, it gets right in under there, you get right around where you need it. Also great for cream contour. Should you want to, that was weird. It's like I'm sucking on an ice lolly. That was bad. So this is going to really give you a nice cream. This is really great for liquid foundations, cream foundations, not really for powder foundations, but it is really, really good for cream products in general. Cream or liquid, so cream contour, cream blush, liquid blush, the new Glow Play blush, really, really good. That sort of spongy, sort of Play-Doh-y sort of texture. This is really, really good. I love it. I use this a lot for foundation when I just want to get that nice skin, not foundation. Another great foundation brush that I love, stepping up from the 270, we have the Big Daddy, which is the 170. So the 170 is just a larger version, really good for packing on. This is going to give you more coverage. So when I'll lay out the foundation brushes once I've gone through them all to explain which ones give you which coverage. So this is going to give you more packed on coverage. You can really sort of pack it on, but you can sort of shear it out as well and get a nice sort of smoother edge, but you are going to get more coverage than this one. And then the one in the middle, no, we'll do a light coverage. Yeah, oh no, I got it already. And then you got this one, which gives you a light coverage. And the reason why it gives you a lighter coverage is because it's longer, it gives you more of a fluffier finish. So, in terms of coverage, the same foundation, you could use Studio Fix Fluid. You've got Studio Fix Fluid, 3 brushes, you have 3 different finishes. So you don't need multiple loads of foundations, you just need different brushes. So for a light coverage, you've got the 188. That's going to give you a nice light, blown out, fluffy, all over, soft finish because it's long and it disperses. Can you see, like if I push that down, you can see how when the bristles go around, it gives you a bigger wax on, wax off moment. So that's the 188. For a slightly more everyday, medium coverage, but still quite light and delicate, and not going to give you a lot of visible product, you want the 159 because of the shape. It gets right in there. You can really pack it on where you need more coverage, but then you can use the tip just to sort of buff away and get that soft finish. And I use that mostly, so that's my everyday. This is my sort of like no makeup. This is my everyday. And then when I'm doing more sort of full coverage, red carpet, when we had red carpets, bridal, when we had weddings, they're coming back, don't worry. I'm sure at some point. If not, I'll marry her and we'll do that, yeah. And then for slightly more coverage, you've got the 170. So the 170 is really it means you can pack it on. It feels light, it doesn't feel heavy, but it gives you maximum coverage. These are the best foundation brushes. So that's the 188, the 159, and the 170. Let me know if you use these at all. How about the large version of the 288? Do you like that? 288 or 188? Just to sort of explain. So someone's asked me about do I like the larger version? I'm thinking you're saying the larger version of this, which is this. So I have one. I don't use it that much anymore. I used to, before the other ones come out. 188, 159, 170, in that order. Got it, yay. Yay! So this was the original Duo Fibre. This was the very first Duo Fibre brush. And I remember getting it going like, oh my, what do I do with it? Oh, how do you use it? I didn't know. How did we know? How did we know to use it? And it is gorgeous. It gives you really good, like, quick, because it gets, look how big that is. It goes everywhere. So I do like that, but I don't use it that much anymore because the smaller one means you can be slightly more precise. You see the difference? So that one goes literally large surface area. This one gives you a more smaller surface area. And that's kind of, it's really about trend. Sometimes you want more coverage, heavier coverage back in the old days, but then you move on and you want more sort of a soft airbrushed, yeah, like airbrush finish. So you want slightly smaller brushes for that. So there we go. So I do have that, but I kind of use this one more. I still like it, I still use it. Really good for mineralized powder. Any mineralized powder fans out there, if you like a mineralized powder foundation, mineralized powder, sort of pressed powder to sort of finish, this is really, really good for that. And the reason being is, again, because of that spaced out white tip. When you put it on with mineral powder, the mineral powder gets buffed and polished with this, and it just pearls up and gives you the most flawless airbrush finish. And when I use that brush with mineral powders on photo shoots, the photographers love it because basically it gives the impression of photoshopped finish without actually having to spend all the money on Photoshop. So my current favorite powder brush is this one. This is the 133. The 133 is absolutely gorgeous. Can you see? It's like a big old sponge. It's really puffy and fluffy and perfect. And it's gorgeous. It's a really good size because it gets right under eyes. You can get right around the nose. It's really good on foreheads. It's just because it's a nice big brush, but it's not like a jumbo size, you know, like that's all over. Whereas this is a little bit more careful. You can be more precise. So I prefer to do that with brushes. I don't, powder, especially powder. I don't like big brushes for powder because I want to just really control where I matte and where I don't. So you want to kind of play it like that. So that's what I do with this brush in particular. It's nicer to control where it all goes. So that's one powder brush that I love. The other powder brush that I love is a newer one that we've had for, I think probably about 2 years now. This is called the 240S. As you can see, it's kind of similar size. It's a little bit shorter, but it's a lot smaller in width. If I turn them, it's the same size there roughly, but this is wider. And I love this for powder because you can really control, again, it's just smaller. So you can really control where you put powder and where you don't. So if you want to get that nice glowy, like on this side, see, like, ooh, look at that cheek. Look at that shine. You use a big brush, you're going to cover it. Whereas a small brush, you can powder under the eyes without touching the highlight. Oh, got itch on the side of my nose. So I hope that makes sense. Powder brushes, I tend to go smaller with powder brushes. So 133 and the 240. Those two are really, really good. I love those for powder. Sorry, I should also say this is also quite nice for blush. If you want one brush to do kind of everything. But my favorite one for blush is the 168. Do you mind going over if someone has no eyebrows in their hair will not grow back? Yeah, I can talk about that. We'll see if we've got time. Otherwise, I might just do a brow thing later. So for blush, I use this brush. This is the 268. And the reason why I do is because the shape, oh, that's a little bit wonky there. The shape is really sort of blush-like. And when I apply a blush, I see a lot of people do that. And the problem with that is, look, the first initial stamp, you end up with like big hamster cheeks. So what I do is I actually go the other way. So I use, it's kind of tapered at the bottom. So that goes first and the width of the brush. And so you end up flicking the hair off and you end up with that nice, soft, diffused finish. So all the blush is where you want it and not making you look like you've been scoffing your face with cake. I also like this for contour because of the way it hugs the cheek. So it just kind of hooks into under the cheek, gives you a nice contour, but diffuses color above. So you get a really nice shape to the cheek. So it's really good for blush and contour under there, a lot under there. Yeah, so those are really good face brushes, powder brushes, contour, blush. So that's the 240, the 133, and the 168. And lastly, I'm going to talk about is lips, and then we'll get into some questions. I'm just going to show you one. This one. This is the, what is it? The 242. This is the 242 brush. This is the best lip brush ever because look, it's the size of your lip. And I've done this. I've done it when people haven't believed me, although I'm not going to do it now because I haven't got anything with me. I've only got brushes. But you can literally go 1, 2, and then because of the shape, you can then get that bow. And you can do a red lip in 4 swooshes. It works, I promise. You know who told me about this brush? The queen that is Val Garland. I was using a more traditional lip brush. What was my original lip brush that I loved, which I still have, which was the 228 brush. I used to use this, and I was like working backstage on a show, and I was like colouring in, and she literally grabbed it out of my hand, she threw it and said, no, darling, what you need is this. And without even looking, she was talking at me, she just went 1, 2, 3, 4, done. I was like, okay, well, that's why you're Val Garland. So that was the 242 brush, and it is brilliant. I also remember the story of how you started using this lip brush. Yes, yeah, it was all Val's fault. And because of Val, I have, what do I have? I have 4. I have 4. I also got one of these. This is a 248. This is kind of nice for lip gloss because it's more synthetic. It's got that flat synthetic, whereas this one has got that fibrous synthetic. So this gives you, oh my God, the queen that is Miss Cristal is here as well. I mean, shook earth. So yeah, you can see the difference. They're the same, pretty much the same, but this one is that sort of really smooth synthetic, so it's great for lip gloss because it just means you're going to get it in there. Whereas this is slightly more sort of, it's got that broken fibre, so it's going to pick up lots of pigment, it's going to pick up lots of lipstick and lay down that lipstick really beautifully. So that's the 2 that you'd want. So that's the 242 and the 248. I think we're all good, really, aren't we? I think I can answer some more questions. Eyeliner brushes. I still do, actually. I'm a 266 fan, 263 fan. And also, it can't be at 210. I mean, the 210, look how small it is. Tiny, it's little baby boy. Really good for getting that microfine line, especially if you want to open your eyes, but you don't want to go through the faff of doing eyeliner. Just getting this dipped in some, if I dropped it, hang on. Dipping this into some like deep brown eyeshadow or medium brown eyeshadow and just drawing it along the base of your lashes. It's just going to open up your eye, make your lashes look bigger, make your eyes look bigger without doing the faff of liner. Because, you know, sometimes you don't always want to do that. Someone's asking about a brush. Huge fan of the 263. Yeah, that angle brush for brows. Yes, some people do. I did. I don't use that brush anymore. I use this one for brows. I said earlier on, I won't go through it. If you didn't see this, you can look at the Instagram story or the Instagram TV that's going to go up later on, or earlier on in this. Oh God, I'm so confused. This is really good for brows because you can push it and push the product under, get that nice solid base. The roundness works the arch like a dream, and then you can just use the tip to just flick. Honestly, it's the width of the brush, of the brow rather, so you can literally just draw brows straight on really quick. It's genius. So a few highlighter brushes. I'm going to show you, actually I'm going to go back to this powder brush. So this is what I said was really good for powder. This is the 240. This is also really good for highlighter because again, highlighter, you want to control how much highlighter you put on. If you use like a regular powder brush, it just ends up tin face. Control it. Smaller brushes control the amount of product. So just a smaller little flick of highlight. That's all you need to do. Also fan brushes. This is the 184. It's quite traditional, but again, it gives you a wider highlight. And sometimes you want a wide highlight, and sometimes it's all about girth. And sometimes you just want a little control. So those are good for highlights. That's the 184, and that's the 240. Right. So now we're going to talk about cleaning. Because I've had a lot of people asking me about cleaning brushes. Get an assistant to do it. No, do it yourself. I actually never, I remember when we were in store and we used to wash each other's brushes, as in, at the end of the day, one person's job was to wash all the brushes, even yours. And I remember watching someone do my brushes and never let them do it again because they didn't do it the way I would do it. So, cleaning brushes, what you got to think about is you're not cleaning the brush, you're removing the product. So you have to think about the product that is on the brush, not necessarily the brush itself. Does that make sense? Let me know if it does. So, how you would clean powder is very, very different to how you would clean something that's greasy or oily or oil-based, basically. So yeah, makes sense. Good. So if you think about it, powder versus oil, two very different products, very different chemicals. And so, well, I know powder's not a chemical, but stick with me. What are they? Formulas, maybe? I don't know. So think about that. So if you had greasy hands because you were working on your car and you had car grease, how difficult is it to wash that off your hands instead of washing your hands because you were baking and you had flour on your hands? Flour's going to wash off really easily. Powder, easier than oils. Yes. So that's what you've got to think about. So for starting with powder, just powder, brush cleanser, just a regular brush cleanser, because all you need to do, and I did actually get a little bit prepared. I've got some tissue here. So if you had to remove powder, you would just put a little brush cleanser on, and then with your brush, little circular motions. Circular motions because that way the hair is getting coated in the brush cleanser. If you go back and forth, potentially you're only going to get certain bits. And then you would then dry off the brush by doing the same motion on a bit of dry tissue. That is going to clean off your brush. Now, the MAC brush cleanser has an element of alcohol in it, which allows the brush to get sanitary, plus it will dry it really quickly. So it's really good if you're in a rush. So when I'm backstage at during Fashion Week and I'm going between shows and I can only give it a really quick sanitizing clean, then I do it this way. Round, on some brush cleanser, clean it off, fresh. It will dry by the time I get to the next show, and it's also sanitary because it's got the alcohol in it. Now, once I've done my day or I've finished my job and I want to clean it properly, what I do is I get some hot water and I put some of this in it. So about sort of, you don't need a big bowl, just sort of a cup with probably a little sort of smidge of that and hot water. And I wash them through, make it really sort of wishy-washy, and then just rinse them off under a tap, squidge them into position, lay them down to dry, done. Works really well. So that's at the end of the day. So that's for powder. But if you want to clean sort of your grease products, sort of foundation. So think of foundation. Even oil-free foundation contains oil. It's the type of oil that's in it that is either oily or not so oily. So all sort of pretty much most foundations have oil in them. Weirdly, even powder foundations can have oil in them. Even though they're a powder, they can still have oil like wrapped in the pigment to help smooth out the finish. So any foundations, cream, blush, lipsticks, anything that has an oil in it is really important that you don't treat it the way you would a normal powder brush. You have to treat it differently. Antibacterial washing up liquid. I promise you, it's the best thing. How I do this is, next to the sink, I will squidge a little bit on the worktop. So I've made a little pool on the worktop. And before, let's use this brush, before wetting the brush, don't wet your brush. Don't wet your brush. Don't do it. Just dip it straight into your washing up liquid. I call it a dry shampoo. So you literally go straight into the washing up liquid. Now there's a reason. And the reason being is foundations in particular, they have a product in them, or an ingredient called humectants. Humectants love water. What they do is when they're on the skin, to stop the foundation drying out, they collect moisture in the air to maintain the moisture in the foundation. They're called humectants. So if you've got humectants on your brush and you stick it under the water, it's like, oh my God, water! And it grabs hold of that water and you will not be able to get through to that foundation because it's wrapped itself in moisture and you will not be able to get through. That's why you end up with stained brushes. This is so old, this brush, but it's still white because I do it this way. When I don't, if I accidentally stick it in water, it will never get white. And that's the reason. I know. So, what you do is you dip it straight in. Don't wet it. Dip it straight into the washing up liquid. You don't need a lot. You just need a little bit. And then you work it through. I work it through my hand or I work it through on the worktop just to sort of make sure that I'm getting washing up liquid all the way through where that foundation is. Then I wet it. Sometimes I'll leave it to the side and I'll get all of them sort of done, and then I'll leave them to the side as I'm doing the others, just to give them time to sort of work their magic into that oil. Then dip it into a bit of warm water, massage it up so it foams up. Then you just sit there and you rinse it through, and then just give it a little pinch, get rid of any excess water. Always lay it on the side so it just sort of has nothing underneath it. Just let the air at it. And then before I put it in my brush belt, I will then go over it again, just 1, 2, 3 little swipes over with a bit of brush cleanser, because the alcohol is going to, I know this has got antibacterial agents, but I want alcohol. I want to make sure that it's sanitary. So go over with your brush cleanser, get that alcohol on it just to give it an extra bit of sanitization. And that is how I clean my brushes. There you go, brush cleanser for powder, and then washing up liquid for anything greasy, like foundations, concealers, lipsticks, body paint, anything like that. I hope that helps. Is there any other questions you've got? I'm gonna hang around for a little bit longer. Just gonna do maybe a couple of more minutes of this. I have no eyebrow hair and the hair will not grow back. Okay, that's a really good question. So I'm gonna show you what I would do. When is my next chocolate review? This weekend, actually. I'm gonna do an Easter special. So someone's saying that they don't have eyebrow hair. So that's why I'm wondering, do I have anything near me that I could do? Actually, yeah, I do. I have something near me that I can do. It's not the same product, so bear with me, but it will do for this. So I'm just going to grab, there we go. So I'm going to grab, what I would do is I would start off with the 239. So if you want to get a really nice brow, so someone's asked, how do you do brows? Don't have any brow hair. How do I get that? So I would use this brush, just get a little bit on the brush. I'm gonna try and do this backwards. Are you ready? Oh my God. Okay, just make sure I haven't got too much on there. Okay, so start by getting that base of that brow. If I do this, I want a big round of applause, by the way. So start off by getting that base of the brow nice and fresh, and then use the width of the brow, width of the brush to just start getting that nice start. Then you want the dome of the dome of the brush to get that arch, and then use the tip of the brush to get the tip of the brow. How does that look? I mean, I know I'm doing it backwards on here. So that is that. So you've got what I would call a ghost brow, a light wash of color, creating a brow shape. Then you want to go in with something darker. Now, I'm using paint pots. I wouldn't use paint pots. You could if you wanted to. I would more likely use eyeshadows. Then what you'd want to do is go in with your 263 brush, and then, oh God, this is really going to cause me. Are you ready? And then I go in and just draw in. I can't even see my hand. Where are you? And then, okay, this is really crude, but you'll get my drift. And then you go in and you start just painting in hair. So you go in with a darker color. Ooh, God, okay, this has gone wrong. But you get my drift. To get the... Oh, that's not too bad. Okay. So then you paint in with a deeper color to get the texture. And what you want to do, you kind of go in one direction and then just sort of, so I kind of go sort of at what, 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and then at the arch go about 3. But the front, you want to kind of get a few sort of bushy unkept hair. So you kind of go out a bit, give it a little rub away. There you go, how's that? There you go. So that's what I would use. If you don't have hair on your brows, the key is to get a ghost brow, get a little bit of a shape of something, and then go in and add the detail of the texture. 263 for texture, 239 for the brow shape. There we go. Right, oh, Romero's joined us. Oh my God, it's like Celebrity Central here. All we need is a bit of Dawn French and we're good. Right, so any more questions? I'm gonna see. So we've gone through cleaning. How often should you replace a brush? This is a good question. You don't need to. If you look after your brushes will look after you. That's the truth. So you will know when a brush is going to come to the end because it's normally, falling apart. But it's all about the cleaning the brushes, cleaning them properly and not saturating. Oh, I have seen, like, please, God, girl, I have heard people say that they've stuck them in washing machines. No. I've seen people just fill up a sink of water and just drop them in. No. The alcohol won't damage the hair. No, it doesn't. The brush cleanser contains alcohol and it will not damage the hair. Thank you, Romero, for my compliment of my glasses. From you, the Glass King, I'm going to take that. So yeah, cleaning your brushes, making sure you clean them. And the other thing is really going to help them last. And the other thing is when you clean your brush, what you want to do, I'm going to try, God, I'm so backwards. You just want to clean, gently, little circular motions. You just want to clean the product that's gone on the brush. You don't have to clean all the way down here, and you certainly don't have to clean all the way down here. If you clean too much, if you put too much water near here, it will get in here, and that's when they start getting wobbly and they'll just fall apart. So that's what you want to do. You want to clean your brushes by just being really gentle with them. Don't oversaturate them. That's the key. But I've got brushes that are probably about 10 years old, 11 years old. And if you look after them, they will stay around for a lot longer. And remember, I use my brushes a lot. So for the average person, you probably won't use the brushes that as much as I do. So therefore the brushes should last you a lifetime. That's why it's really good to invest in great brushes. And I always recommend like MAC brushes because they just last. They're so good. So yeah, that was a good question. I like that. Is there anything else? I'm trying to look. How do you clean them without ruining them? We've gone through all that. Let me see if there's any other questions on here. Sorry, it's just reading some of the questions on here. Some I'm not going to answer. Because I'm probably get arrested. You should be arrested for saying them questions, you kooky kids. So favourite brush for setting powder. I'm going to go back to this one. I know I've mentioned it. This is the 240, the 24S. Really good for setting powder because it means you get right in where you need to. It's really tight, really easy to use. It's a great brush for setting powder. If you want a big powder brush, well, I mean, I do have bigger. Actually, yeah, this one's quite nice. I think this is the 140. This is quite big. If you want that big sort of, the 140 is a good one as well. Oh, and actually this one, I know Romero is a fan of this one. This is the, I can't remember what they call it. I think it's the one, I can't read it because it's kind of rubbed off. Let me see if it's on my other one. Oh, that's it, the 137. This is a good sort of powder brush because it's very light. It's like a little so that's quite a good one as well. So that's the 137, 137S. Yeah, I think they're all good. Any more questions on here? And we're gonna wrap this up. Okay, yeah, I got a lot of questions about if I was on a desert island. First off, if it's a desert island, I would literally not care what brushes because I wouldn't be here. I want a holiday desperately. But if I was stranded on a desert island, what 5 brushes would I want? So, my 5 brushes that I would want on a desert island, I am going to go with... Oh, yeah, actually. Where did I put that one? Right, so my 5 brushes, if I was to have only 5 brushes, I need to get one out of here. These are the 5 brushes. Are you ready? You got your pen and paper? 242 for lips and eyeshadow application, but more lips. The 221 for socket work, softening down, eye pencil, popping a little powder under the brow, that sort of thing. The 270 for concealing, good for blemishes, because you know I'm on a desert island, so I want to make sure that my skin's looking nice. I want to conceal those blemishes just in case, you know, pirates come along and they want to rescue me and take me home. Concealers. And then foundation, I'm going to go for the 159, and then powder, I'm going to go for the 133. So the 5 brushes that I would want as a great set would be 242, Pringles man, thank you very much, 242, 221, 270, 159, and the 133. And I get a medal for saying all of those and not messing them up. Right, I think we're good. Is there any other questions? Gonna just one last look through. No, I think that was all. I think I've gone through all the questions. There was a lot of questions about specific products, specific brushes for specific problems and products, which I've gone through, and I'll put it all together into one. And then there was brushes. There was questions about cleaning. That was a lot of things. So we've gone through that. Multi-uses, I've gone through sort of what you can use for all of them. So yeah, okay, yeah, cleaning once a week or more. Personally, for me, I clean, well, obviously because I use them on different people, I will wash them after every client, give them that sort of brush cleanser and water mix and wash through. I do that after every appointment to make sure they're clean and sanitary for the next person. If for my own personal brushes, if I'm doing stuff for myself, I tend to be a once a week person. Probably a bit, well, yeah, once a week, unless I'm changing products and I don't want that leftover bit of something getting on. So yeah, I will do that. Once a week is fine for your own brushes, I think, because you're only using them yourself. Right, there we go. Thank you very much for joining me on this live. I'm going to put this all together. Should anyone want to waste an hour of their life and watching all of them, watching it all again, I'm going to put, this is part 2, the part 1 because I froze. So I'm going to put part 1 and part 2 together, and I'm going to post it as an Instagram story, as an Instagram TV later on, basically in the next sort of couple of minutes. So stay tuned for that if you want to catch all of it. But thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for asking me loads of questions and your interactions. I will put in the list all the brushes that I used as well, so you can see. And if you do have any questions, write it in the comments of the Instagram story, and I will respond and answer your questions as soon as I can. But yes, until next time, until we do another live, take care, have a great weekend, and I'll see you soon.